Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Wake and Take. It's your boy Jason, and we've got some football to talk about today. Today, of course, it's Tuesday, so we're going to be talking the waiver wire. We've got the top 25 ads heading into week 8, so go ahead and take out your coffee, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. And good morning and welcome into everyone here in the chat. I see you, Bach. I see you, Dustin. I see you, everyone there in the chat. Thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you for listening as well if you're on the Wake and Take podcast. Again, guys, the Wake and Take podcast can be found via the link in the description. You can find all sorts of different episodes and things. It's awesome. It's all the Wake and Take episodes to listen to. So, yeah. Anyway, sorry about the lag. There's nothing I can do about it. I see Dustin letting me know. I can't do anything about it. My internet's good. My computer's good. Nothing is wrong. I've completely done everything I can. It's just StreamYard hates me. Today hates me as well. How am I supposed to go, or yesterday hates me, right? How am I supposed to go into a matchup up 15, 16 points against Rashad Bateman and having Marvin Harrison Jr.? And how am I still going to lose? What is going on? What is going on? Fantasy football so annoying right now. This background, incredible, by the way. Shout out Colin Manser for putting together this new rebrand of Wake and Take. This background is supposed to be animated. There's actually a sunrise supposed to be going on, but StreamYard decided, hey, I'm not going to let you have animated backgrounds anymore. When we started this project a couple months ago, we had the ability to have animated backgrounds. Not anymore. Apparently this morning or within the last couple of weeks, I decided to remove that capability. So now it's just a still image. Still looks great. Shout out Colin, but nothing is working. How am I losing to Rashad Bateman? How am I still lagging despite my computer being right? Nothing wrong. Literally nothing is wrong. There is nothing wrong. And yet I still get technical difficulties and I still lose to Rashad Bateman. What is this? God, I'm so frustrated. If you're in a couple listener leagues with me, you see I'm fire selling in a couple. I'm very frustrated with how some of my teams are going at this point in the year. What's going on with CJ Stroud? Like, what is going on with so many different things? Why is Chris Godwin out for the year? Why is Mike Evans getting hurt in the same game? Why is Brandon Ayuk out for the year? I am so angry this morning. I've been listening to Radiohead all morning. I'm in my feels. I'm pissed off. I'm sad. I'm angry. I'm lost. I don't know what's going on. And Jameson Williams got suspended. Are you kidding me? It's like nothing can go right. It's like nothing can go right. I just don't understand it. I feel like this week in particular, the universe is out to get me. I don't know what's going on. I really don't know what's going on. And I'm just so frustrated this morning. I really, really am. I really, really am. And I'm sorry that I'm lagging. Hopefully your ears are appreciating what's coming through. And hopefully I'm not too loud. I am frustrated and yelling, but hopefully it's not too loud. I don't know, whatever. But hey, Jameson Williams suspended 2 games for violating the NFL PED issue, right? You're not supposed to be taking those PEDs. However, it's only a 2-game suspension. My only worry with this is that Dan Campbell just gives up, right? Like that was kind of the concern about Jameson Williams heading into this season and last year. It was like people are like, oh, Dan Campbell doesn't have a lot of patience. You know, that Jameson Williams is trending on the DeAndre Swift track where he's just going to kind of get offloaded to another team and, you know, not really be utilized in Detroit. With this, that does bring up some concerns, right? Like I do think Jameson Williams made some strides getting on Motor City Dan Campbell's side. But I also think that one more suspension like this probably pisses off MCDC, especially with the way that the Lions are playing right now, as hot as they are. And Jameson Williams is just going to get suspended for the next couple games. I would be pissed if I'm Dan Campbell. I'm not going to lie. So if I'm putting myself in Dan Campbell's shoes, Jameson Williams is ending up in the doghouse for a few weeks, even outside of the suspension. So I'm not going to lie. I'm very, very frustrated and worried about this damn Jameson Williams suspension. I don't feel good about it. I know that it's only 2 games, and a lot of people out there are going to be saying like, hey, it's only 2 games. He'll be back. It'll be fine. Again, Jameson Williams has kind of been utilized less and less over the last few weeks with the signing of Tim Patrick. Only gets 1 target. It's a forced screen that he ends up getting for negative yards in the game before the suspension. I don't know what he's coming back to. I don't know what Jameson Williams is coming back to. I think this is an excellent news for Sam Laporta, excellent news for Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm really not going to lie. I am very worried about my Jameson Williams shares now. I was over the moon. I was over the moon this year. Everything had been going so well. So well. And last night, things just came crumbling down. I lost the Wake and Take Invitational League. I lost to the median by 1 point. I lost to Rashad Bateman when I was up 16 and had Marvin Harrison Jr. I lost a Chris Godwin team that was doing really fucking well. And Jameson Williams gets suspended out of nowhere? I just don't get it. Just don't understand it. I'm so frustrated and lost. I just don't get it. I woke up this morning and my first reaction was I'm pissed. I don't even want to do Wake and Take this morning. I'm just so mad. But I'm also happy to be here. So those are my Jameson Williams thoughts. I'm very panicked. I'm very frustrated. Good news for Sam Laporta. We are in a waiver wire show. I'm going to go ahead and say Tim Patrick and Khalif Raymond are not one of my top 25 waiver wire ads. If you're in a deeper league and they're available and you need wide receiver help for the next couple of weeks, that Tim Patrick and Khalif Raymond are probably worth adding if you're going to start them. But there is no reason in hell to add Khalif Raymond and or Tim Patrick if they're just going to sit on your bench. That's where I'm going to leave it. I really do think that this suspension is more so for Sam Laporta and Amon-Ra St. Brown and arguably Jahmyr Gibbs as well. And honestly, like I said, I really do think that this should be really bad for Jameson Williams. I know it's only 2 games, but I do think that Dan Campbell is pissed. We'll come to find out, right? But and it could only be this morning, right? Like Dan Campbell has 2 weeks to simmer down, but he's definitely pissed the fuck off this morning. Dan Campbell is maybe even more pissed than I am. Maybe, right? You know, that guy drinks a lot more coffee than I do, so I'm sure his caffeine has led to some more anger than mine did. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at in that situation. Shout out Curtis for having a rough week as well, losing Godwin and Ayuk on the same team. Donald had their phone ran over. Dustin told his wife that he's sad. Or Alex, whoever is posting right now under the Player Profiler account. But yeah, just not a good morning. Not a good 24 hours of fantasy football. Not at all. So we did an injury roundup yesterday, so go check out yesterday's kind of updates on what injuries happened over the week. We do have a couple more from Monday Night Football. Those, of course, being Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Chris Godwin, done for the year. Literally done for the year. It looks like had a sprained ankle, dislocated ankle, actually, I think is the actual injury. Literally with like a minute left in the game. When the game was already, they were losing by 10 with a minute left. So I don't really get why he was even out there, especially given that Mike Evans was already hurt in that same game. So that's awesome. That's great. That's just fantastic. We love to see season-ending injuries in basically pointless scenarios. Mike Evans, hamstring injury, kind of similar to the Nico Collins one where he gets injured on a catch, right? Except he doesn't bring it in like Nico did. We'll see how that goes. Probably out for a couple more weeks. It's just so frustrating. I mean, how could you be feeling good this morning? Actually, how is anyone feeling good this morning? Even I'm sure Jalen McMillan roster managers are just sad, They're probably happy. They're probably over the moon, but still, God, just frustrating Monday Night Football happenings. Frustrating suspension. Could they not give the suspension later? Why did this all have to come crashing down in one night? Why are they even testing Jameson Williams? He's 50 pounds. He's a spaghetti noodle out there. Why are they worried about what performance-enhancing drugs that guy's taking? Check Derrick Henry, for God's sake. Like, what? God. I'm not mad. You're mad. Let's do an ad break and come back to the waiver wire. We'll definitely be talking Jalen McMillan. He's probably the top ad of the week. So stay tuned for that. Here's some information about the Breakout Finder. Let's do the Breakout Finder.
Oh, hey, it's Mr. Breakout Finder coming at you. The Breakout Finder features 3 key tools. A database of metrics that include speed score, college dominator, breakout age, but also Breakout Finder only stats like dynamic score, level of competition, teammate score. All of these things are part of the overall Breakout Finder algorithm that pinpoints the probability that a player will break out. Everyone's talking about my model does this and my model does that. Well, we give you the data points that go into the model. We have a feature that lets you compare players, and then we give you the precise probability of every wide receiver, every running back, sorted and filterable by class year. So when I'm talking to my friends and I need to show them why I'm so bullish on player X, I pull out the Breakout Finder and bam, there he is. So go to the App Store, go to Google Play. It's $5 to get the Breakout Finder, and then a couple extra bucks to get some of these additional enhanced stats. Go download it and thank me later.
Go get that Breakout Finder. Find out the next players that will break out easily, all at the power of your fingertips on your cell phone. It's very cool, very great. Lots of fantastic stuff over at Player Profiler. Lots of great apps. Breakout Finder, one of them. Go get it. Now, we've got some waiver wire. What do? Players available in 75% or more Yahoo leagues. We like to use Yahoo just because that kind of covers some of the standard leagues, the more shallow leagues. But then also, we can go find the people who are rostered in like 1% of Yahoo leagues and be like, this is real fantasy football. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I mean, guys? I might have to drop some players in some shallow leagues that it's just crazy to think about. Why do we not all just play in deep leagues? Why doesn't everyone just play in deep leagues? Why do shallow leagues even exist? It's not even fun. It's not even fun having a shallow league because then you're having to bench players like Marvin Harrison Jr. And it's I don't want to do that. I want to worry about lineup decisions between Jalen Tolbert and Xavier Legette, which are waiver wire ads. Anyway, so the way we're going to do this, as usual, is it's not necessarily in order of importance. We're just going literally in order of availability, from the least available player that I would recommend adding to the most available player that I would recommend adding. I will, of course, give some insight into how much fab, potentially, as well as, how much of a priority ad this is, why I feel like they're worth adding, and what type of team would be looking to add this player, that type of stuff. So we'll start with Ray Davis, right? Ray Davis, not going to be able to be on this list much longer, I'm sure. He's gone from 3% rostered at the beginning of the year when we started talking about him to now 25% rostered in Yahoo. So about to get over our cutoff of 75% availability. But just right there, so we get to talk about him one more week. And we saw, of course, last week, he was the waiver wire ad. We thought James Cook would miss another week, but it didn't even matter. James Cook still played, and Ray Davis still found the end zone. 5 carries, 41 rush yards, and a touchdown. Had a catch as well. We know if James Cook goes down that Ray Davis is an auto start, and we're starting to see some opportunity for him even in games with James Cook. And this was always the case, right? We talked about it all offseason. All offseason, we talked about how James Cook just is not a bell cow. They always use these other running backs because he does not have the frame to handle that type of workload. So this draft pick of Ray Davis was frightening for James Cook managers, and we're starting to see why. Now, James Cook is, of course, still getting there. It's not a problem. But as the year goes on, Ray Davis will still get more and more opportunity, pushing it to a 65-35, 60-40 split. I know Ty Johnson's getting some work right now too, but it's going to just be Ray Davis and James Cook at some point. So get James Cook while you still can if he's available in your league. Yes, for the most part, he's going to be a bench stash, but that is what the bench is for. These high upside running backs on great offenses. Ray Davis, still available in 75% of leagues on Yahoo. Go ahead and pick him up if he's available in yours, which he's probably not. But if he is, get him. Moving on, we've got Jalen Tolbert available in 80% of leagues still. And while we're here, Brandon Cooks available in 88% of leagues. Brandon Cooks only has one more week where he has to be on IR. The Ryan Flournoy breakout just seems to not be happening. And that's totally fine. I'm okay with that. Everything is fine. I'm happy. But Jalen Tolbert, available in 80% of leagues over the last 2 weeks heading into the bye, has had 15 targets, brought in 11 of them for over 100 yards and a touchdown. Jalen Tolbert's been a stud. And honestly, I would probably wager that he's going to be the wide receiver 2, even when Brandon Cooks does return. However, again, in your deeper leagues, if Brandon Cooks is out there, I would recommend going ahead and picking him back up just in case, because he is eligible to return off the IR after this week. Not sure if he will, right? Like they haven't really given much updates on the injury status and everything, but he is eligible to return after one more week. So probably go ahead and start getting ahead of that. If Brandon Cooks was dropped in your league and still kind of hanging out there, worth probably throwing him on the bench with all these injuries piling up. Even at the wide receiver, like it seems this year almost so far, knocking on wood, that wide receiver injuries are kind of happening a lot more than running back injuries, which is definitely not the norm. Now, of course, we still have plenty of season left for these running backs to get hurt. God, do we love this sport. Man, is this sport awesome. Just love it. It's so gladiator. These players are getting hurt all the time, and we have to talk about picking up players in case they get hurt. That's just great. Hopefully more players don't get hurt. It's very painful to watch all this. No one likes it, but it just keeps happening, and so stay ahead of it. If you need a wide receiver help, you can get Brandon Cooks this week before he returns. And in your shallower leagues, if Jalen Tolbert is still out there, he's worth adding as well. Xavier Legette is next, available in 81% of leagues. Xavier Legette is the wide receiver 2 in Carolina. And I know that that's not great. He's been very hit or miss. You have no idea when to start him. But as we're seeing all these injuries pile up, as well as the Panthers season getting more and more lost, we could see things kind of change on offense. I think Andy Dalton's going to get benched soon. Within the next couple weeks, we'll see Bryce Young back out there. And I wouldn't be surprised if they just start to try to feed Xavier Legette and feed Deontay Johnson, feed Jatavian Sanders, because that's the future of this organization. They want to get the ball in these players' hands. They want to get as much reps to these players as possible. So Xavier Legette, he had a 10-target game a few weeks ago. He had a touchdown a couple weeks ago. He gets utilized. It is very hit or miss. You don't necessarily know when to start him, so I don't want to throw a lot of fab at him, but he's definitely worth rostering. As we could see, garbage time maybe as the season goes along. Anything really, just start to go his way on this team. Next is Justice Hill, who, just keeps becoming more and more available. And I know people are giving up on him because he's not scoring. But he is scoring. It's just, you have to keep him on your bench. That's just what running backs are about. So if Justice Hill is out there, you want to roster him. Not only for the injury upside, if something, like we don't want Derrick Henry to get hurt, but if something happens, Justice Hill becomes the main featured back there, along with Keaton Mitchell, Rasheen Ali, So if you're in deeper leagues, Rasheen Ali, Keaton Mitchell are out there, pick them up. But mostly Justice Hill. If Justice Hill is still out there, you need to get him because we know when these games come. 12 points against Tampa, that makes sense. 18 points against Buffalo, that makes sense. The only game that didn't make sense was 3 points against the Bengals, right? But Derrick Henry has just gone crazy. Right? There's going to still be games for Justice Hill. He's a flex player. He really is. He's got that upside. He gets the receiving work on this offense out of the backfield, and they utilize it. So I'd be getting Justice Hill if I could. Next, we have Isaac Guerendo. Isaac Guerendo, we've talked about a lot, all season as well, available in 82% of leagues right now. And again, this is going to be an injury thing. Unfortunately, he didn't necessarily get his opportunity, but, fortunately for Jordan Mason, he was able to return so quickly. But still, everything is so big question mark as it pertains to Christian McCaffrey. With the status of Christian McCaffrey still being confusing, like we have no idea what the hell is going on, you still need to roster these backup running backs to Jordan Mason, especially Isaac Guerendo. We saw 10 carries, 99 yards, an explosive run that should have been a touchdown when Jordan Mason went down against the Seahawks. That's just how it's going to be. If Jordan Mason goes down, Isaac Guerendo is going to be a must start. This is just, again, what benches are for. If you can get Isaac Guerendo in your league, just keep rostering him. Keep stashing that player. He's awesome. Going right down the line, I can't believe I'm saying this. I have waited and waited and waited. I just didn't want it to be true. I've already talked about him a lot this morning. But I guess Rashad Bateman's a thing. I guess Rashad Bateman is a thing. I can't believe it. I'm shocked. I'd totally given up on this player. But Rashad Bateman's a thing. Over the last 2 weeks, he has 8 targets, 8 receptions, 192 yards, and a touchdown. Over the last 3 weeks, he's got 12 receptions, 240 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He's getting utilized. And he's looking kind of good. I'm shocked. I'm shocked. But Rashad Bateman needs to be added. He was so free, as Best Ball on Call is saying in the chat. He was so free. And yet, he's good, apparently. So, Rashad Bateman, apparently he's going to be a thing all season. Has some consistency as well. Only 2 games so far this year under 9 points. He has a 20-pointer now. It's just insane to me. I really don't get it. Again, I'm very mad that I lost to Rashad Bateman. But apparently he's a thing. Apparently he's going to be consistent. And apparently he's kind of unlocked. You know, I mean, he was drafted to be good. He showed us some athleticism. He showed us why he could be good. And then he showed us why he'd be bad. And then, you know, the whole Ravens pass offense. You know, it's just low volume. It didn't seem to make sense. But yeah. Zay Flowers getting banged up. Rashad Bateman being good. I just can't believe it. You got to add him. You got to add Rashad Bateman. You've also got to add Trey Benson, who's available also in 82% of leagues. Lots of 18% rostered players. Again, just you need to stash him. Nothing really to say about his stats at all. He hasn't really done anything. In fact, no carries against the Chargers. But worth rostering. Again, guys, I don't understand the fantasy football space sometimes. We spent all rookie draft season hyping up Trey Benson. We spent all off season hyping up Trey Benson. But then as the season came here, the game started being played, and Trey Benson was a backup running back to James Conner as expected. Everyone's dropping him. Everyone's giving up on him. Everyone's selling low on him. Like, can we just be patient? This was a young rookie running back, came out early. Not hyper athletic by any means. Just a good running back, good size, good speed combo. Fairly athletic. I mean, what is a 4.39? 40 at his like 200 plus pound size. So, I mean, like, he's up there. But James Conner is and always was a bell cow, all-purpose back. Arizona utilizes him that way. It was always going to take a James Conner injury for Trey Benson to break out. So why are we giving up? I don't get it. I don't get it. Get Trey Benson while you still can. Get him while you can. And we've got a super chat here, so we're just going to go ahead and answer that. Thank you so much, Tyler, for the super chat. And guys, if you want your question answered faster, add more super chats. You know, that's how we get to them. That's how we know immediately. Otherwise, back of the show. But if you want it immediate, I'll help you with the super chat. Rashad Bateman, I think I'm being asked what my thoughts are. And would you start Otten over Ferguson? Yeah, I would start Otten over Ferguson now with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans hurt. I mean, he's going to be a big, big add this week if he's available. Yeah, huge. Otten is very startable over the next few weeks. And then my thoughts on Bateman, like I just said, apparently is a thing. Apparently is going to be a thing. I think he needs to be rostered. And probably flex going forward, especially in some of these more shootout scenarios. I don't know why I lost my wording there. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Bateman. And yeah, I would start Otten over Ferguson. Moving on from Trey Benson, we're going to go Blake Corum again. Same thing. Same thing. Just wait. Just be patient. If Kyron Williams gets hurt, Blake Corum's going to be awesome. So just wait. Just wait. Just be patient. Kamani Vidal, available in 82% of leagues as well. Not going to lie, very much disappointed in this week's performance, but it was just a really weird game against the Cardinals. Really weird game, 15-17. But only 3 carries and 1 catch. J.K. Dobbins still got basically it all. I really did think that Kamani Vidal would start pushing J.K. Dobbins a little bit as he gets more acclimated to the NFL speed. But J.K. Dobbins is just good right now. But J.K. Dobbins, I would be shocked if he finishes the season healthy. I mean, if he does, good for him, right? But, I mean, he gets injured every year, and he still doesn't look 100%. Like, if you watch him run, he looks hurt. He looks like he's running hurt. So I want Kamani Vidal. Get him a lot. Highly recommend picking up Kamani Vidal over a Blake Corum, a Trey Benson even, I would say. It seems more likely at this point, but, I mean, they're really all the same tier. As Ray Davis even. Like, these are just, you want these rookie running backs with some high upside. You got to stash them. I understand that people are getting desperate, but you need to hold on to these players. Moving on, Drake Maye is available in 84% of leagues, has back-to-back 20-point performances, and we just have to remember that garbage time points are still points. Drake Maye is a must roster and honestly a probably every week starter, even in single quarterback leagues. He's going to score fantasy points. He runs the ball. He throws the ball. He gets garbage time because this team is terrible. Drake Maye, definitely worth rostering in single QB. I mean, if he's not available in Superflex anymore, but at this point, single QB ad, Drake Maye, faux show, get him. He's getting points regardless of when they come in the game. They are points. Next, we have Jaleel McLaughlin. Jaleel McLaughlin is only rostered in 15% of Yahoo leagues right now. He just keeps getting dropped. And again, I am out on this Denver Broncos backfield, right, as things stand. But if anything happens to Javonte Williams, Jaleel McLaughlin and Audric Estime, to another degree, pick up Audric Estime, sure, are going to be utilized a lot and make up a really solid backfield. Jaleel McLaughlin has the pass-catching chops and the elusive running capability, and Audric Estime has the power running. So I just want to roster these guys. It's an interesting offense. If anything happens to Javonte Williams, Jaleel McLaughlin, and Audric Estime could probably be started. Which is interesting to me. And I'm just honestly shocked that Jaleel McLaughlin keeps getting dropped because he does still have all the athleticism that we want in a running back, minus the size. But still, he's getting catches, he's getting utilized, and he's looking explosive. I mean, 4 carries for 35 yards last week. Again, not a ton of volume. But if anything happens to Javonte, you're going to wish you had Jaleel. Pick him up and get Audric Estime too. Roschon Johnson, same thing. If anything happens to DeAndre Swift, Roschon Johnson's going to be a total stud. And, I mean, he's getting utilized anyway, right? He's getting goal line carries, and he's getting some catches as well. Heading into the bye week, he actually had 2 receptions off 3 targets, had 5 carries. The week before that, he had 10 carries, 2 rushing touchdowns, getting it done on the goal line. He's the power back in Chicago. DeAndre Swift has a knack for falling on the one, and Roschon Johnson comes in. Pick up Roschon Johnson. He was dropped a lot because of the bye week, but he shouldn't have been. He's a must roster. Really high upside player. This is a player the Player Profiler, the Podfather, has loved. You got to get Roschon Johnson if you have the room on your bench. Stash him there. DeAndre Swift is also undersized, has the injury concerns. Pick up Roschon. Now to the meaty stuff. Ricky Pearsall with Brandon Ayuk out for the rest of the season. Deebo Samuel hospitalized. Can you believe it? Should have mentioned that. Deebo Samuel got hospitalized yesterday as well. On a team that I have Jameson Williams. It's fine. On the team that I lost to Rashad Bateman is the team I had Deebo Samuel on and Jameson Williams. Like, it's just pain. And Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, it's just pain. It's just pain. But with Deebo Samuel in the hospital, Brandon Ayuk out for the year, it's next man up in San Francisco. It's probably going to be Juwan Jennings, right? But Ricky Pearsall is going to be asked to do stuff as well. He had 5 targets against the Chiefs. That is not bad, especially since that was his first opportunity. Jacob Cowing also got some looks as well, so it's worth rostering Jacob Cowing if you're in a deeper league. Jacob Cowing, if you remember, is a player that really impressed me at the Senior Bowl. He is very much undersized, but he's a very good route runner with good hands, very elusive. And I could see San Francisco utilizing him here or there. So if you're in a deeper league, he's worth rostering. But for the most part, it's going to be Deebo when he's back, Juwan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall, and then Jacob Cowing here or there. And that's fine. All of those players need to be rostered. If you have a San Francisco 49er wide receiver available on your waiver wire, you might as well pick them up. Things are looking bleak in San Francisco. Bleak as all hell. So get your 49ers that are available. And hey, we've got another super chat. Shout out Jennifer. Thank you so much for sending the super chat. We have a trade question here. In a 12-team PPR, no tight end premium, you would be sending away Rashid Shaheed, Trey Benson, and a first to get Cooper Kupp, Travis Kelce, and a second. I think I would do this. I think I would be doing this. Yeah. I'd rather have Cooper Kupp over Rashid Shaheed. I don't think I would rather have, I guess I'd rather have Travis Kelce over Trey Benson. And the first and second, not bad. Not too much of a downgrade to make up for you probably putting yourself over the top and helping yourself win this league. Now, you are, sending some assets that have some youth, right? But, I think the Saints are going to draft a wide receiver. I think it was pretty evident with the contract they gave Rashid Shaheed that they're not invested in him long-term, especially now with the injury. Yeah, I like this trade for you, Jennifer. Moving on, we got Bo Nix. Bo Nix available in 14% of leagues. Sorry, available in 86% of leagues. This is another player. Single quarterback, I would roster Bo Nix. I know it seems counterintuitive. I know the Broncos suck. But again, he's running the ball. He's throwing the ball. 23, 21, 14 over the last few weeks. Probably should have had more than 14 against the Saints. Just had literally no touchdowns. But to score 14 points with no touchdowns speaks volumes. Bo Nix is an awesome quarterback right now. He's playing super well, and he's scoring fantasy points. And they don't even have to come in garbage time. The Broncos are out here winning. So I like Bo Nix a lot in single quarterback. I would be looking to add him and maybe trade away like a Patrick Mahomes, right? And then just see what you could get for Patrick Mahomes and then just roll with a Bo Nix, roll with a Drake Maye, go crazy. It's single QB. You don't need an elite quarterback, especially an elite pocket passer. Next, we have Mike Williams. Mike Williams available in 87% of leagues. This is very short. You are only rostering Mike Williams for the next couple weeks. If you're picking him up, you're spending no fat. If Mike Williams is available, though, there's lots of rumors out there that he's looking at being traded. So I would go ahead and pick him up now, roster him if you have the space, and then when he gets traded, sell him because he sucks, right? Someone's going to be like, oh my God, Mike Williams went to Kansas City. Might as well get, actually, Mike Williams on Kansas City would be pretty exciting. So maybe not. But that's what I'm saying. Essentially, Mike Williams is a really, there's a lot of rumors out there right now that he might be traded. Trade deadline in just a couple weeks. Go ahead and get ahead of it. Go ahead and pick up Mike Williams. Spend absolutely zero fat or maybe $1, right? And then just kind of hold him, right? But yeah, get yourself some Mike Williams. Dude is bad, right? But who cares? He's going to get traded. There's going to be hype. Get the dude. Okay. Moving on, we got Jalen Wright available in 92% of leagues. Now I'm not gonna lie. It seems less and less likely as the year goes on, but as we just saw with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, injuries can apparently happen in the same game and completely change the landscape of a team's destiny for the whole season out of nowhere. And that's fine. We're loving what's going on right now. Having a great day. Loving my fantasy football teams right now. But Jalen Wright. It seems, again, less and less likely. Raheem Mostert's already been hurt. Devon Achane has technically already been hurt. And the Jalen Wright, still hasn't really happened. We had the 13 carries for 86 yards against the Patriots. He is the backup over Raheem Mostert now, which is nice. But still, it's just not enough. However, you just got to roster him. You just got to roster Raheem Mostert or Jalen Wright. Again, if anything happens, he's going to be amazing. And I know that it's hard to roster these players, but he's just going to be amazing. He's just going to be so good. He's just going to be so good. I love the athleticism that Jalen Wright brings to the table. We've seen some of the explosiveness already against the Patriots, of course, but still, you've got to just roster him in case an injury happens. Now, again, it seems unlikely given that they've both already been injured. Are they going to get injured again? I hope not. But it can happen. It's the NFL. And apparently anyone can get hurt at any time, even if there's only 50 seconds left in the game and the game's out of hand. And that's fine. That's just fine. I'm totally not salty about this Chris Godwin injury. Player number 17, Adonai Mitchell. Available in 93% of the leagues. And this is just a late season play. This is more so for deeper leagues that he's available where he shouldn't be. In shallower leagues, he's definitely not really worth rostering. He is going to be boom or bust. But we're starting to see the Colts kind of have a concerted effort to get him the ball. And so I do think towards the end of the season, Adonai Mitchell is going to be, more in the game plan and probably take a lot of those Alec Pierce deep shots. And he might actually end up being startable. This is a gamble. Again, he's not really playing that well, but he's kind of getting targets. I mean, he has 3 targets, 4 targets, 7 targets over the last few weeks. Some of those going to be as a result of injured players being out. But still, I think that Adonai Mitchell is trending in the right direction. Kind of want to get ahead of it here because he has a lot of athleticism. And if Anthony Richardson can just figure it out a little bit, just a little bit, like just 10% more completions, Adonai Mitchell would be huge. Just a monster. Especially with the potential of him earning those deep shots. So I just want to go ahead and roster Adonai Mitchell. It's probably not going to happen. But if you can get him for a couple fab, if he's available in your deeper league where he just shouldn't be, just because no one really wants a Colts receiver, right? I think he's worth rostering. I think he is trending in the right direction, and I could see the Colts kind of looking his way more and more as the season goes along, just to get him the ball as the season gets lost. Player 18 is Jalen Polk, and honestly, it seems like he's just ass. I mean, like, he seems really bad at football, which is shocking because there was so much hype for him this offseason. He looked good in the preseason, looked good at training camp, was making noise in rookie OTAs. But it really looks like he can't play football. I mean, like, drop after drop, slipping. But he's getting the ball, right? Drake Maye is looking his way. The Patriots are trying to get him the ball. And it's just not happening. It's really just not happening. He does not look good. He now just picked up an injury. But if he's dropped, especially in dynasty leagues, I think he needs to be rostered. I think he'll turn it around. I mean, I know that we have the instant gratification bug in fantasy football. But I mean, this was like an undersized receiver, kind of developmental to begin with. I mean, Rome Odunze's backup, right? So, I mean, it was probably going to take some time anyway. Demario Douglas playing super well. Kayshon Boutte looking good. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I'm not even going to ask that question. But I do think that Jalen Polk is worth adding, worth rostering, especially if he's dropped. I know he's awful right now. I mean, like, he looks terrible. Like, I think that I honestly think that I could do better about than Jalen Polk has right now. I've got hands. I've got hands, baby. I think I could catch some of these passes. We'll see if I could actually get open. But yeah. And actually, see a question here. Happy Hudson's asking, should we go ahead and start stashing Javon Baker, essentially? And actually, yeah, I wrote that in my show sheet. In dynasty leagues, in deeper formats in general, I would start stashing Javon Baker. He was a late breakout in college, so it makes sense he'd break out late in the NFL. But he still has a lot of athleticism. I mean, he was recruited by Nick Saban at the college level out of high school. So I do like Javon Baker too. In fact, going into the year, this is one of the ones I was really wrong on. I thought Javon Baker was going to outperform Jalen Polk. I thought he was going to be the guy. A lot of people did. But that was one of my L's of the offseason, was really big in on Javon Baker. Hasn't turned out, but I do think Jalen Polk will turn it around. Hopefully, right? I think he's worth rostering at least. And then if he turns it around, you can start it, right? Next, we got Marshawn Lloyd, available in 94% of leagues, and it's just the same thing, right? These backup running backs with athleticism, you've just got to keep stashing him, and Marshawn Lloyd gets dropped every single week. His ownership goes down and down and down every single week, but he's actually eligible to return now. He was eligible to return last week, didn't. Probably not going to return next week either. It seems that this was a little bit more of an injury than we thought it was. But still, he's going to return at some point this season. And I do think he's better than Emmanuel Wilson. And I do think he would see some opportunity. And, knock on wood, if anything happens to Josh Jacobs, the Marshawn Lloyd would be an instant start. So you got to add him. I'm honestly surprised he's as available as he is. Next is Kendre Miller. This is one we talked about a lot. Kendre Miller is an interesting one to me because, again, so many people were so in on his rookie season, had the injury, Then we had the whole thing with, Dennis Allen saying that, he can't make the team from the locker room. But he made the damn team, and people are acting like Dennis Allen still hates him and never wants him to see the field. And that's just not how it goes, right? Like like he made the team. He's more athletic than Jamal Williams. If anything happens to Alvin Kamara, it would be Kendre Miller. And we saw in this game, it got out of hand. They gave him the ball a little bit, and he looked good. 6 carries, 36 yards, 2 receptions as well. I'm going to keep pounding the table for Kendre Miller. He's a buy for me in Dynasty for sure. And he's a huge, huge, huge pickup for me on the waiver wire, especially with all the injuries piling up, with the usage Alvin Kamara's getting. Alvin Kamara's playing through injuries right now, too. He's like questionable every week. So get Kendre Miller while you still can. I think he's going to end up being like a league winner. Honestly, get Kendre Miller. Next, in your deeper Superflex leagues, or really just in your Superflex leagues in general, if Bryce Young was dropped, he's available in 97% of leagues right now. Like I said, I think Andy Dalton's going to get benched. He just does not look good anymore. And they have to give the ball back to Bryce Young at some point. Now, it'll probably still be a couple more weeks, but I do think we'll see some more Bryce Young in a Carolina Panthers uniform this season. And so I want to pick him up in my Superflex leagues, leave him on the wire in single quarterback. But they've thrown him out there a few times, like when the game's lost, and he's looked a little bit better. He looks comfortable in the pocket. He's rolling out a little bit here or there. So hopefully he's started to build some confidence. Hopefully the game has slowed down a little bit for him. This is a gamble, right? I understand that he kind of sucks. But hopefully these few weeks behind Andy Dalton, just able to soak in the game with a little bit better of a coaching staff. Hey, he's looking good on the scout team. Per all the reports, he's looking incredible on the scout team. Why do we do this to ourselves? Why do we love this game so much? It's so painful sometimes. But yeah, I think you got to pick up Bryce Young in Superflex leagues. I do. And now we're making it to probably the ad of the week. And what did we say? What have we said? Every single week, this player's been on our list. Jalen McMillan. Everyone was giving up on him. Everyone was dropping him. This player had so much hype going into the year. So much hype. And scored in week 1, his first game. His first catch was a touchdown. And then he picked up an injury. People forgot. Mike Evans balling. Chris Godwin balling. So people just dropped Jalen McMillan. He's available in 98% of leagues right now for some reason. And we said time and time again, you've got to keep adding Jalen McMillan. He should not be dropped. Because not only is the wide receiver 3 in Tampa looking good, Sterling Shepard usable, Trey Palmer usable in the weeks that he was the wide receiver 3, like with Jalen McMillan out. Jalen McMillan usable. And the case was always, hey, Mike Evans is over the hill. Chris Godwin has injury concerns throughout his entire career. If anything happens to either one of those, Jalen McMillan's going to turn into a stud. He's already looking good with low volume. Imagine what he'd look like with high volume. And God damn it, they both got hurt. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin got hurt. Now he's a wide receiver 1. We didn't want that to happen, but it's happened. He's a priority ad. I mean, you've got to spend fab on a wide receiver, and we hate doing that. And that's why we said to keep rostering him and keep adding him and keep stashing him. Because he got 8 targets in this one. Of course, only brought in 3 of them for 15. Had a carry as well, which is kind of cool. But that's how it's going to be. I mean, he's going to get like 8 to 10 targets every single week for the rest of the season. And Baker Mayfield's playing well. The Tampa Bay offense is looking good. Now we'll see how good they look without Chris Godwin. We'll see how good they look without Mike Evans. Falcons repeating, hopefully. I mean, but they lost to the Seahawks, so it didn't even matter, right? But hey, you got to get Jalen McMillan. And yes, you have to get Trey Palmer. Yes, you have to get Trey Palmer. Pick up Trey Palmer as well. He scored. He scored a touchdown when Jalen McMillan was out. In fact, Trey Palmer is a very good replacement for Mike Evans. He can stretch the field. Of course, not the same size as him, but he has the speed. He can get open. He has the separation skills. We've seen it from him before. So Trey Palmer, startable, rosterable. Trey Palmer, get him on your team now. Trey Palmer. Next, and Jalen McMillan. Next, another one. And it's happening. It's happening. We talked about it yesterday. Troy Franklin's happening. Available at 99% of leagues for some reason. But again, a player has been on our list every single week, especially for our deeper leagues. And now it's turning into shallow leagues. You've got to pick up Troy Franklin. Again, this was just always going to be the case. This was the most logical one out there. Like, you're looking for a deep sleeper wide receiver rookie? How about the guy that gets to play with his college quarterback still on an offense that has no true alpha weapons? Troy Franklin was inevitable, guys. He was inevitable. And it's still not even to the part of the year where I'm most excited. Like fantasy playoffs, for example. Troy Franklin's going to be huge. Huge. Get him now, as we've been saying. Again, he's gonna be, and is, Bo Nix's favorite target. It may not have gotten to that point of the depth chart and the scheme yet, but it's getting there, slowly but surely. Led the team in targets, receptions, and receiving yards this week, and it's just the beginning. Last week he had the touchdown, and everyone was like, oh, he may have had the touchdown, but he was out-targeted by Devon Vele. Why wouldn't I be picking up Devon Vele? Because Troy Franklin and Bo Nix were college teammates. Bo Nix, Troy Franklin have the draft capital. Troy Franklin has more athleticism. Troy Franklin. Just get Troy Franklin. Next, I'm bundling up 3 players together. As we did on the Market Watch, we said to buy these players, but they're also on a lot of waiver wires. If they're on your waiver wire, they're worth adding as well, but also worth sending out some trades for them. Ja'Tavion Sanders, Theo Johnson, Ben Sinnott, these rookie tight ends. They look good. And in Theo Johnson and Ja'Tavion Sanders' case, they're on teams where their development is more prioritized than winning, which is great. We're seeing Ja'Tavion Sanders and Theo Johnson get heavy target shares, really, for rookie tight ends especially. But Ja'Tavion Sanders just had like 6 receptions off of 6 targets, I believe. Theo Johnson has a couple games of that as well. And Ben Sinnott just scored his first career touchdown. Now, Ben Sinnott's still behind Zach Ertz. This is less so, but still worth stashing in case Zach Ertz gets hurt. Then we'll see Ben Sinnott hit the field more. But mostly Ja'Tavion Sanders and Theo Johnson, I think they need to be rostered for sure, in redraft, in Dynasty especially. And I would send out some trade offers for them too. Theo Johnson, Ja'Tavion Sanders, Ben Sinnott, all hyper-athletic tight ends on good enough offenses for the future. I like them a lot, really. I really like all the 3 of their potentials. I want them pretty badly on as many Dynasty teams as I can get them. But also, I think they're worth picking up in tight end needy teams as well, redraft-wise. Maybe less so Ben Sinnott, but definitely Sanders Johnson. And lastly, R. Wilson of the Pittsburgh Steelers, the wide receiver Roman, available in 99% of leagues. Has not played, really. He had 1 game, ran 5 routes, no targets, and then injured his hamstring. So off to a horrible start, honestly. But Roman Wilson, again, this was a rookie wide receiver that everyone was so excited about, especially after the Senior Bowl. He made so much noise, crushed it at the Combine as well. Has the clutch factor from his time at Michigan. I mean, his touchdown share of J.J. McCarthy was over 50% of J.J. McCarthy's passing touchdowns went to Roman Wilson. He's a stud. He's an incredible wide receiver at running routes. He has incredible hands. He has great speed. He's a track star. Has his head in the right place as well. Just has been, unfortunately, ravaged by injuries. But hopefully he returns. And with Russell Wilson being the quarterback now, it seems that, it's going to be a little bit more pass-friendly, which helps Roman Wilson because he is better than Van Jefferson. He is better than Calvin Austin. Arguably, he's better than Pat Freiermuth. Pick your poison. So I think he's going to be very valuable for this offense, at least in his career. And I'll take a bet that he can get going by the second half of the season. If he's available, go ahead and start stashing Roman Wilson. I think he's going to be a big part of this offense at some point, hopefully this year, probably not this year, but at some point I want to go ahead and get him. Try to trade for him in Dynasty for sure. Pick him up if he's available. I like his upside a lot. Again, love the athleticism. Love everything about Roman Wilson. From Michigan, you just love that stuff if you're me. So Roman Wilson, one of my favorite rookie wide receivers, now as a quarterback. Go ahead and pick him up if he's available and see what happens throughout the course of the year. Cool. Question time. Question time. What do we got, guys? Going to the top of our chat. Moving down. Who should I grab off the waiver wire? Juwan Jennings, Rashad White, Jalen McMillan, or Ricky Pearsall? Probably Rashad White. Crazy he's available. Rashad White. Who was my number one ad? I believe it's Jalen McMillan. I think it's Jalen McMillan. Yeah, or just, in general, the running backs. Would you rather have Pearsall or Jacob Cowing? I think Pearsall just because of draft capital. I do like Jacob Cowing a lot. I think he's going to be sneaky. But Ricky Pearsall, honestly, has gone from my shit list to my total hit list. I like Ricky Pearsall a lot now after being shot. I know that is an awful sentence. But dude has some dog in him that I never realized. When I met him at the Senior Bowl, he rubbed me the wrong way. And honestly, I still stand by that, I don't think that Ricky Pearsall and I would be friends. I don't think I would want to get a beer with that guy. But he clearly has some tenacity to be able to literally get shot and apprehend someone and recover as quickly as he did. That speaks volumes to me. So I think he's going to be fine. Now, he does not have a lot of separation skills. He is pretty agile, but he does struggle with separation. He's a very good contested catch wide receiver. He makes some awesome circus grabs. So he'll be utilized, right? And I do think with him being a first-round draft pick, he's going to get utilized a lot more than Jacob Cowing. But I do like Jacob Cowing a lot. But, yeah, I would rather add Pearsall. All right, a trade question. I answered this one, actually. Who's up next in Detroit? Like I said, Amon-Ra, Sam Laporta, really. But probably, yeah, Tim Patrick and Khalif Raymond, probably kind of together. Keep going. Yeah, we honestly might need an IR show. I think next week we're going to stray from the consistent episode schedule. I think next week we're going to try to do like a mid-season review type stuff. So maybe we could talk about just some advice to do for rest of season or something. Derrick Henry is the ninth wonder in the world. It's so true. Would you drop Dalton Kincaid for Cade Otton? I would not drop Dalton Kincaid. I just can't do it. But I do want to pick up Cade Otton. He looks like a really nice tight end play for the next few weeks. All right. I lost Godwin. Should I get McMillan, Troy Franklin, or Rome Odunze? In this order, Rome Odunze, Jalen McMillan, Troy Franklin. Now, if you need the immediate help, it's probably McMillan over Rome Odunze. But I do firmly believe that Rome Odunze will have an awesome second half of the year. I think he is a huge part of the Bears' future. And I do think they want to force feed him the ball at some point. I think that'll come. He is showing some consistency over the last few weeks, and the Bears' offense has shown some signs of life. Now they have the bye week, so they're able to adjust some stuff. Rome Odunze I would definitely rather have. But if you really need the instant gratification, it's probably McMillan. But I think Rome Odunze is definitely the answer here. Would you play Dak versus San Francisco or Maye versus Jets? Probably just Maye versus the Jets. I think he has a good floor. All right, Trey Tucker, Jalen McMillan, Keon Coleman, Khalif Raymond, or Tim Patrick. I would say Jalen McMillan or Keon Coleman. Probably McMillan. But Keon Coleman, on that Bills offense, pretty good at as well. But probably McMillan. I think he'll have at least more volume. Would you add Hunter Henry in a Dynasty Superflex League? Yeah. Hunter Henry should be rostered. Drake May's looking his way. Hunter Henry's catching the ball, looking good. Get some Hunter Henry on your squad, especially if you need a tight end. Thank you, Bradley. Thank you, Brittany. Shout out Player Profiler teammates. All right, Donald, you want to code to the Pick'em League? You might just have to tune in Thursday. Hold on, let me see if I can grab this real quick. I don't remember if there is like a code or if I just give you the link. Or if I can even invite you at this point. Oh, wait, invite your friends? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to. I can give. Wait, here we go. Group ID 49738. That might be it. I don't know. 49738 is the group ID. I'll put it in the chat. Would I trade Terry McLaurin and Kenneth Walker for Amari Cooper and George Pickens? No, I don't think so. I think that I would at least hold on to Kenneth Walker for sure. Now, McLaurin, I don't mind trading, and especially I don't mind trading for Amari Cooper. I think I answered that one. Kendre or Vidal? I hate like having to choose between two backup running back stashes because like it is an injury gamble. Like you're waiting for one of them to get injured. So really you're asking me, do I think Alvin Kamara is going to get hurt or do I think J.K. Dobbins is going to get hurt? And when I put it that way, I guess I would leave it all. But I mean, I want both really bad. Yeah. Top three in this order: McMillan, Jennings, Troy Franklin. No, I don't think Jennings makes my top three. I would say Jalen, McMillan, and then just like every running back. Ray Davis, Kamani Vidal, Roshan Johnson, Jaleel McLaughlin, Jalen Wright, Kendre Miller, Marshawn Lloyd, Blake Corum, like all of those kind of tied for second. Are we giving up on Downs? I would take McMillan over Downs, yes. I mean, Anthony Richardson is just not a good passer. But yeah. I guess you could give up on him. Yes, Malik Neighbors rubbed me the wrong way, but he kind of like he didn't rub me the wrong way. I just wanted like confidence from him. I point blank asked him, hey, are you going to have 1,000 yards? And his answer was, I don't know. I'm just trying to be a good teammate. And sure, that's a fine answer, but I just wanted confidence, especially from a wide receiver with that draft capital. So that's what rubbed me wrong. Ricky Pearsall rubbed me wrong because of other things. He just literally rubbed me wrong. Like it was just like he had a weird vibe about him. The way he answered questions I didn't like. The way he carried himself, I didn't like. He just had like this like frat boy, like still a senior in high school, like hasn't, given up those days type vibe. Ricky Pearsall did. Whereas Malik Neighbors just didn't have any confidence, but he has started to build that confidence, right? Jalen McMillan's a priority in Tampa. Is Hardman a sneaky pickup? I guess, but probably not. Would you trade Ayuk for Devontae Smith? Yes. Would you trade Devontae Smith for Amari Cooper or George Pickens? No. No, actually. Yes, McMillan is the priority ad. Jatavian Sanders or Estime, better stash? Probably Sanders. I would rather have the tight end. Kenneth Walker's the RB9 while missing 2 games. What a stud. And thank you for the 49th birthday wish. Appreciate it. I feel like I look good for 49. I really do. I feel like 49 looks good on me. Anyway, guys, that should do it. Those were the questions. I hope you all have a great day. I hope you all have just an absolutely wonderful rest of your day. A terrific Tuesday, if you will. A wonderful rest of your week. And on the way out, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to find the Wake and Take podcast via link in the description. You all have a terrific Tuesday, wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace.
Hey, I want to thank you for being part of this broadcast. If you have any thoughts on it, leave a comment. If you enjoyed it, make sure you leave a like. And if you want to see more shows on the Player Profiler channel, subscribe to it. That's how we know you want more.